Hey Marvel Strike Force fans, it's your friend the Fast and Comic Guy here, and today I'm going to tell you 25 characters that I think will be available that will probably be coming in the year 2021, so next year, after December. So, right now in the game we actually have announced for next month, because it is November right now, but next month in December it is announced that we will have Shatterstar and Longshot, and they're both XFactor characters. So I was thinking to myself, like, well, what other XFactor characters could they possibly bring to make the XFactor team a little bit more, complete than just two people? And that would actually be, and I'm going to do a little thing right here because I'm using the red star thing. Basically, I'm just going to click on here, a little orb will pop up, and then you'll get to see their head. So the first person that I think that they would probably bring to add to the XFactor team is going to be Strong Guy. So Strong Guy, he's pretty hardcore. Like, he's basically what he is, just a really big strong guy. So that's the first character that I think will probably, there's not going to be like an exact time. Like, I'm not going to say in January this is the character that's going to come. Basically, this is what the characters that I think that are going to come next year, possibility, type of thing. So I'm kind of basing this also on like looking at teams that haven't been worked on in a while, teams that people have kind of forgotten about, and that kind of thing. So, when they look at it, they're just like, oh, well, what can we do to make this team viable again? Well, we'll just add a character that had something to do, make this team more viable, type of thing. So yeah, one of the first characters that I think that they would probably add to the X Factor would be Strong Guy. He's one of the more well-known characters for the X Factor. So a second character I think they'd probably bring would actually be, and it's Multiple Man. So again, Multiple Man, his basic powers are basically just multiply. He could possibly do things similar to like Loki, where he kind of does like a mass stealth. Maybe he won't do like a stealth, but maybe make like a stealth to himself. But like do a thing where he basically like multiplies like 8 times and like all decoys, so that to be kind of a neat thing. Or maybe he just has like a move where basically he makes himself double and it's just 2 characters on this up with equal power on the field, and then as you like upgrading, have like 3 and then 4 type of thing. Like maybe you have like the first character that he multiplies into is like 80% his strength, and like a second one 60% his strength, and like the next one like 50%, that type of a thing. So as you put points into it, that'd be kind of neat. And the next character I think would actually be very good for the X Factor would be Cyclops' brother, Havoc. So yeah, I think Havoc would do great for it. Like he's Cyclops' brother. They've kind of had kind of a rocky relationship, and yeah, I think those two would do. They could even possibly do like a synergy together with Cyclops if they wanted to, which they won't, but because that's just what they do. But I think Havoc would be a good addition to an X Factor team. So yeah, if they were going to do complete the X Factor team, I think those 3 characters, Strong Man, Multiple Man, and Havoc, would be a great addition to it. So another thing that we had this was rumored before Longshot and Shatterstar were announced, was this character was rumored to be a legendary for December, and it is Blade. Now, I still think Blade will still come. If he doesn't come in December, he'll probably come early in the next year as possibly the next legendary character that they have. Probably, I would say, a team that they would want people to use for it would probably be the Pimtech team. Basically, just because they're the brand new people, and a lot of people might be missing, some people for Ghost, some people for Yellow Jacket, that type of thing. So yeah, I think the next character on the list for a good possibility in the year 2021 would be Blade. And of course, with Blade, I think another character would be Morbius. Now, reason why, because I think the Supernatural team was a very popular team, and unfortunately, it's no longer like considered a meta team. It's like right there in the middle. They don't really do that great. Like Ghost Rider, he can be amazing in Blitz if you have high red stars on him and you just like deck them out like crazy. But yeah, they just kind of, they're not no longer as meta as they used to be. So I think adding Blade and Morbius to the team, maybe getting rid of Scarlet Witch and MODOK, would probably make that team a little bit better. Especially since I don't really think Scarlet Witch is really that much of a supernatural person. Like, sure, she uses like chaos magic type of thing, but that's, I don't know, it's more of like a mutant power that she has that just happened to be that go into that realm kind of thing. So now this team, I actually think this next person with the person after that, I think they'll actually come around Valentine's Day, and that would be the first one. I think would be Rogue. Now Rogue, she's been rumored for a really long time. People have been demanding it. Another thing on this list is basically I'm also including a lot of characters that seem to have a lot of hype and demand behind them. So yeah, with Rogue, I think she would possibly come around Valentine's Day, and yeah, that's because, like I said, she's got high demand. She would work well with the X-Men. So yeah, and then the character that I think that will come after her would be basically they could have really great synergy together. And of course, if you know who, you should know who I'm talking about. If you know Rogue, it would be Gambit. Now, again, Gambit, I think they'd be great for Valentine's Day release. Rogue and Gambit, they could do like a whole milestone event thing for, like, say, Rogue. Probably do a blitz for Gambit, or maybe do one of the little campaign events for Gambit. But yeah, I think they would both be really great for the X-Men. You could even toss Gambit in the Marauders if you wanted to. So, and you could even make Rogue have some synergy with Mystique. So yeah, that's another character I think. Now after Gambit, now this next character, I think the team here that he would be associated with has gone down a lot, and I think he could be possibly another legendary. He doesn't have to be a legendary, but I think MODOK would be a really good addition to the game next year, because the AIM team has kind of fallen down a little bit, even though like they are a good team, but a lot of people have kind of stopped using them. I've actually noticed they used to be a really great team to go against the Asgardians, but I've noticed in War that they don't really punch up as much as they used to. So I don't know if it's because the Asgardians have just been getting better, or the AIM team is just, maybe I just have really bad RNG. But I've just noticed the AIM team that used to be one of the best minion teams out there has gone down quite a bit, and they could use a new character just to bring them up back to current standards, basically. And I think MODOK would be a really good character for that. Now I'm actually going to go down my list a little bit because I want to keep talking about teams that are mostly minion teams, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this guy's name, but for this team, I think Kraglin, I hope I'm saying that right, Kraglin, I think he'd be a great addition to the Ravagers. Now, I'm not saying that you need to make the Ravagers like a number one meta team, but maybe make the Ravagers more like a beginner team type of thing, because most of the characters are pretty easy to farm. And, for like a newer player, they could just like, work on a Ravager team and have it as like, say, like a war defense team, like a mini war defense team, just kind of more of an annoying war defense team, like higher than average, but not as like good as, say, Asgardians or the Mercenaries. And yeah, I think Kraglin, because he's Yondu's second in command, so you probably know him from, he was that funny guy that stabbed Drax with the little wand flying thing in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So you'll probably know him from that, but he actually looks a lot different in the comic books. So yeah, I think he would be a good addition to the game. Plus, he's not like a crazy well-known thing, so you probably won't get too many people trying to wail out on him too much. So that might be the one downfall, but he's had a little bit of people wanting to go, hey, let's get some Ravager love and put a character like him, and some people also want Taser based, but I think this character is more viable and more likely to happen. So another character that I think would come to the game would actually be Gorgon. Yeah, Gorgon. Now, what Gorgon is, he's basically one of the leading people in the hand. So yeah, if you want the hand team to be basically good again, or good period ever, then you'd want Gorgon, because basically he's like a guy that kind of, like, he's a pretty badass character. Like in the comic books, like he's done some pretty crazy things, and yeah, I'd say he'd be a really good addition to the team. He'd work well. He has a lot of altercations with Elektra, and like I say, he's one of the main characters associated with the hand. So Gorgon, I think, would be a great character to bring to the hand team, just to make them so that they're actually a team that's actually, usable. And they actually are not usable at all. Like, even when you try to use the one event that they're associated with, like, I hated putting resources in the hand team just so I could finally make it to the very last challenge and 3-star it. And those are resources I'd rather have used in other places. So yeah, I have making the hand like an actual team. Like, I don't even care if you made them like a war offense team, or even like a beginner team for people who are raiding. Make them so that they're a good raid team for a beginners type of thing. But yeah, like, just do anything you can with the hand, because what they are right now are just pathetic. So one of the things that I also did to try to make this list was I looked at teams and characters that are kind of like missing people. And I'd say one of the teams that is missing like that one key player kind of thing would be the Young Avengers. Like, the last character that you have on there is probably Captain Marvel, just because she's got that hero brawler tag to go with Miss Marvel. So yeah, the Young Avengers team is kind of missing something. Now, I don't think this character was really a Young Avenger per se, but he would work well on the team. And unfortunately, in today's society, we have to cater to a whole bunch of people, and there is that 1 month of the year where we like to put rainbows on everything and just make everyone go, okay, that's great. So one of the characters that I think that they'll probably bring during the Pride Month would be Hulkling. Now, Hulkling is basically a big Hulk-like character. He's not an actual Hulk like the Incredible Hulk or Red Hulk or anything like that, but they just call him Hulkling because he's actually an alien. He's like half Kree and half one other race, and he happens to be gay. So I think Hulkling would be a good character that they'll probably bring into the Marvel Strike Force, because, like I said, Pride Month, they'll be looking for a character. He just basically had his own run in the comics called Empire, where he became like in charge of, basically the universe kind of thing. Kind of in charge of the entire universe, because he's like in charge of the Kree. So he basically joined the Kree and the Skrull, I think, together in the whole storyline. I actually kind of skipped that one because I was like, okay, this was a lame one. I was more interested in the Venom Null storyline. So yeah, I kind of skipped the Empire storyline, but apparently he was a really big character in it, like one of the biggest characters, and he happens to be married to another guy. So I think he'd be a good character to bring to the MSF, basically. And yeah, like I said, I don't really know too much about him. I just know that's how they advertise him. That was the first thing. Like, when you hear about it, the character, the first thing they go, we got Hulkling, he's gay. And you're just like, okay, anything else? And then they go, oh, well, and then they like go through their paperwork because they forgot everything that they know about the character, trying to give the character more of in-depth personality than just what their preference is. It's like, well, where does this character come from? It's like, oh, well, he's an alien. It's like, oh, well, that's a little bit more interesting. tell me about that. How did he get to Earth? You know, that type of a thing. But yeah, nowadays in the comic books, they actually don't even bother with backstories. They literally, the first thing they go, this is this character. They happen to be this race, this sexual orientation. They prefer these pronouns, and you're just like, I don't care about that stuff. I want to find out how they get their powers. Why are they a superhero or a supervillain? What made them become a bad guy? But I could go on for that for hours, but I don't want to go into that. We're talking about characters that are coming in 2021. So another character that I think has kind of fallen off the list is Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man, we all love Spider-Man. I'm wearing the Spider-Man hat right now. And so he keeps getting put on a team, and he gets kicked off the team. He was in the Symbiote team for a little bit, then they kicked him off the Symbiote team because they added Anti-Venom and Scream. Then he was on the Brawler team, then they kicked him off the Brawler team because they got rid of the Heroes Brawler team to make the Young Avengers team. So Spider-Man's kind of like chilling by himself now. And that gives a good opportunity for 4 new characters just to make an actual Spider-Verse team. Like a real Spider-Verse team. So these are characters, now you could go with characters that are like literally from like alternate Spider-Man dimensions and, alternate dimensions that just happen to be Spider-Man. So the first one I think would actually be Spider-Gwen or Spider-Ghost, whichever one you want to go with. I think their current name is actually Spider-Ghost because Spider-Gwen kind of says her whole identity, her secret identity. So her name is actually Spider-Ghost now. She is definitely a highly wanted character in the game, so yeah, I think Spider-Gwen would be a really good addition to adding to a Spider-Verse team that includes Spider-Man. Now, another character I think would be great would be Black Cat. I think Black Cat would be a great character to include in the Spider-Verse team. She's not directly like an actual like Spider-Man, like a Spider-Verse thing from like another dimension, but she is a pretty well-known Spider-Man anti-hero type of thing. Sometimes they're good friends, sometimes she wants to kill him, and that's because she got stood up from him on a date or something like that, and she takes it really personally when he does stuff like that. Another character that I think would possibly come. Oh, look at that, I forgot to click on the little buttons here. So another character I think would come would actually be Scarlet Spider. So Scarlet Spider, now there's actually 2 Scarlet Spiders. There's Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider, and then there's the Kane Scarlet Spider. I think both of them would actually be great additions to the game. One of them is, they're both clones of Peter Parker, and basically them both being clones would make the game, well, you could do a whole Clone Saga thing inside the game for like the campaign, if you wanted to. You could do like a campaign introduction for both of them, or one of them technically. Well, probably one of them. I don't think they do a campaign for 2 characters. Although that would be interesting. Like right now in the thing, basically click on the little orb, it gives you like a 50% chance to get the main character that you want, which is actually a lie because you'll open up a whole 20 of them. You will get maybe that character once, and you'll get a minion the 15 times. You have the 1% chance for a minion, you'll get that minion 5 times in those 20 orbs. So yeah, that I don't even look at the percentages on those things anymore. But yeah, I think a Scarlet Spider would be a great addition. And then to fill out the ranks after that, I would say Spider-Man 2099. Now, he's a really cool character. His suit looks freaking dope. And yeah, I think he'd be just a great addition to the team. And yeah, I'd definitely go with Spider-Man 2009. So, but yeah, if I was going to make an actual Spider-Verse team to have Spider-Man in there, I'd probably have Spider-Ghost. Then I'd have Black Cat. Then I would have Scarlet Spider, one of the 2, or both. And then I have Spider-Man 2099. And if you wanted to, you could even throw in maybe the Prowler. That'd be a pretty cool one. Although Prowler was originally a Spider-Man character, but they've kind of made him into the comics more recently for Miles Morales characters, so that might make things a little bit difficult. And if you wanted to, just because they like to throw tags between characters that don't really aren't on any teams together, like Vision and Scarlet Witch, you can even toss Miles Morales and Spider-Ghost, have some synergy together. So that's those characters there. Now, another character that I think was originally planned to come into the game, which was actually supposed to come into the game with lots of other characters that weren't actually like real characters, and that would actually be Nova. Now, Nova, I think, would be a great character to bring to the game, but when he was originally like kind of conceived in the game, like when they originally were thinking about it, they're actually going to have like a Nova Corp, and it was going to be very similar to like the Ravagers type of thing, where there was basically going to be Nova with a whole bunch of minions, maybe Nova, one other key player, and then a whole bunch of minions. But I think at this point in the game, they're not going to be doing minions in the game, which is actually a little bit disappointing, because you could actually make a pretty cool Nova Corp like team, basically. And you could easily make it so that like one character on the Nova team is like a tank, one is a healer, and then one is like, say, a brawler. Then there's Nova being like a blaster, and then you have like another one that's like a controller. Like, you could easily do it if they would be willing to do minions again. So I'm not sure if they, like I said, he was originally planned to be on a team with minions, but are they going to bring any minions into the game? Probably not, because they're going to be like, well, these characters aren't going to be worth anything. Maybe they could do like an update where basically it's going to be like, yeah, we're going to have basically just introduce automatically into the game just like these 3 nodes randomly, and like, you know, early on campaigns there's going to be like 3 new minions or 4 new minions that happen to have Nova Corp tags to them, and they're just going to be brand new characters. Gives veteran people a reason to like go back to earlier nodes to farm, and it gives people that are newer, you know, the ability to like farm other minions besides the current ones in the game. So they could do something like that where they just give us the minions and make them automatically available into the game like they have right now. But I don't think they want to do something like that. And, you know, they probably did something like that. That would be like 1 month where they'd add like 5 new characters, and people would consider those like extra minions new characters. Would be like, well, what are we supposed to do? Like level up all these characters all of a sudden? So yeah, unfortunately, I think like they could still bring Nova in, but they'll probably try to do it a different way. I wish they would do it where they bring in a whole Nova Corp and just have a whole bunch of include new minions to it. But like I said, they probably won't do something like that. So another character that I think that would probably come out, because the movie's coming out next year, is the Red Guardian. Now, it's already been pretty much confirmed that he's going to be in the game, so I think next year is a good indication that when he'll probably come. So Red Guardian is pretty much a no-brainer. When the Black Widow game comes out, they're probably going to bring Red Guardian into the picture. So this one isn't going to be like really one character. This is actually going to be like a whole team that I think they might bring in. And I think it would be Alpha Flight. So like on this Alpha Flight team, I think they would be great if they included characters like Guardian, Puck, Sasquatch, Shaman, and Snowbird. Like you could use Sasquatch as like a tank. You could use Guardian as like, you know, the main. He'd be like basically the Black Bolt of the team type of thing, because he is the leader. And you know, that's basically the Canadian team they're the Canadian X-Men basically. They're ones that are actually in charge of space right now in the comic books. Like whenever you're reading the comic books, like, hey, what's Alpha Flight doing? Oh, they're up in space doing something, like guarding the atmosphere or something like that. So yeah, they're basically like the main people that are like part of the space program currently in the comic books. And yeah, I think that those 5 characters would be a great addition to the game, and they could possibly be like, maybe have them as like a counter to the X-Men team, or even the X-Force team, or even the new XFactor team that's coming out. So yeah, that's those guys. Another character that I think they'll probably bring to the game next year, if the movie comes out next year, is actually ShangChi. Now, they have his movie announced. If the movie comes out next year, which would be great, I'd be really excited to see it, would be ShangChi, and I think he'd be a great addition. Now, obviously ShangChi will need a friend, so I think his buddy that would come would also be Swordmaster. So ShangChi and Swordmaster would be two other new possibilities to come in 2021. And when they're making so basically with this one, I think they would possibly do like a Heroes of Atlantis team, because ShangChi was on there, Swordmaster was on there, and if they're going to do a Heroes of Atlantis team, then I think they would also include Arrow. She is a brand new character in the comic book. She's only been around for about a year, maybe a year and a half type of thing, and she's even had her own series. She's a pretty cool character. She basically controls air and stuff like that. So I think she'd be a great addition to, if they're going to do ShangChi and Swordmaster and try to put them on a team, they'll probably do a Heroes of Atlantis thing and have her on there with them. And if they're going to do that, they'll probably also include this character, Silk. Now, Silk could also, even just for the heck of it, go on a Spider-Verse team, but I think she'd probably fit in better with the Heroes of Atlantis. So yeah, I'd probably go with something like that. And again, they'd probably just leave it with that last spot open, just so they can add another character later on in the maybe 2022. Let's see, what else do we got here on the list? So I think another character that he could probably bring, I'm not sure what team that he would be on, but I think they could bring Black Knight into the game next year. Not entirely sure where they'd throw him, but you know, people have been basically on every single team in this in the Marvel universe. So whatever teams he's been a part of, they could probably just toss them on that tag on them real quick and make things like that easy enough. So yeah, I think Black Knight would be also a pretty safe bet, because he's got a lot of hype and a lot of people have been actually kind of wanting him. Not as much as like Gambit or Rogue or anything like that, but I think he'd be a pretty safe bet that he might come in next year. Another character that I think would possibly come next year, especially since he's got a Disney Plus show coming out, would be Moon Knight. He's basically the Marvel version of Batman, except he's in a big white costume and he likes the moon. He's a rich billionaire and just gets his power whenever the moon's out, basically. So, and it's more like he's basically Batman's version, Marvel's version of Batman. Because his powers have kind of, I'm not entirely sure if he has powers. I know he's got something to do with the moon, but it's like it originally had something to do with the moon. Then he was originally kind of like a lot like Batman, where he had like no powers and he just kind of like used that whole thing. And then he got powers from the moon. I don't know. His is really complicated. You actually have to keep really high track on all of his comics. And yeah, once it started getting confusing like that, I was just like, okay, this is too much for me, because I think I only got about good 30 of his comics from the mid 2000s. Let's see, what else we got here. I think I just have one last group of people left. And yep, just one last group of people left. And if they were going to do it, I think they'd probably do this duo, and that would be Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger, they had their own TV show for a little bit. I think they had 2 seasons. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. They didn't really ruin it too badly with any like weird agendas or anything like that. But I think they would do really well together in the game. You can give them some synergy with SpiderMan. Again, they could even be part of the SpiderMan team if you wanted to. But I think Cloak and Dagger would be a good safe bet for a possibility in 2021. So, everyone, that is the 25. Actually, I think that's a little bit more than 25 characters that I think will come in 2021, or a good safe bet for 2021. Will they do it? Like I said, it's just a safe bet. They're characters that I think are possibilities. Like I think during Pride Week they do like the Hulkling type of thing, especially with the Empire coming out. When Valentine's Day is coming out, I think they'd have Rogue and Gambit coming out. And you know, when certain movies come out, like the Black Widow, they'd probably do something like the Red Guardian. And then like spacers in between, like, you know, they'd have Blade and Morbius. They'd include some more XFactor people like Strongman and Havoc. So yeah, I just think those would be good characters to expect coming next year type of thing. So make sure you have lots of space on your credit cards because yeah, Scopely does not like to make anything affordable for anybody. So have yourself a great day, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hey guys, it's Ryan and Amy here. If you thought that video was fun, please hit the subscribe button on the left. Check out one of my other videos on the right. Hit a like below, leave a comment. I'm always appreciative of them. I'll try to get back to you on them. Anyways, have yourself a good day, a good night, and a good morning. Peace.